Hi,
And as
Jonathan.
you know,
We're going to have to say this again, though.
So good evening, everyone, and welcome to another TTI Health Show. Today, our host and co-host is Sharon Wallace and Jonathan Curlew. We will try to navigate you through this evening procedures. Our presenter this evening is none other than Louise Reid, no stranger to us. And I think, I'm not 100% sure if we've got, we haven't got our youngest presenter with us this evening, but I'm sure in part two, we've
got Makaya, who's she's going to be helping me with the poultices and stuff. She's going to be the person that I demonstrate on. So instead of CJ and Gran, it will be Makaya and Gran.
Okay, thank you for that, Louise. So we are sorry that some people, you know, the word didn't get far enough that our show get pushed back to 4 o'clock by popular demand. So unfortunately, some people came in early this evening, but we are grateful for your patience, and we look forward for you to enjoy this evening presentation. Sharon?
Definitely. So yes, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome. Good morning. It could be for some of you as well. We are so glad that you've joined us today. I'm going to share my screen and just go through our PowerPoint for today. And for some reason, I've put it right at the, no, it's not right at the end. Okay, are you able to see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Fantastic.
Loud and clear.
Big and wide. Okay. Right. So welcome to another episode of the Family Health Show, True Temperance International. I think most of you are familiar. We're familiar with your names, but there may be a few people, maybe even one or two, because it could have been that it was shared to you. So True Temperance International, if you've seen the letters TTI, that's what it stands for. Okay. So it's a few families. We've come together in ministry, and we've been doing this for almost 3 years now. In fact, longer, but not under the name of TTI. So for TTI, it's been coming up to 3 years. Oh, somebody's drawing on my screen. I'm just going to stop share and then disable annotation. So let me do that. Sorry about that, folks. Okay, so let me screen share again. So if you, I'm sure it was an accident, whoever did that. So if you're able to, careful not to draw on the screen. That need to minimize that. More disable annotation for others. Okay, right. So that should be fine. If somebody does accidentally tap their screen, we shouldn't have any drawing on there. Okay, so like I said, welcome to another show of another episode. I can't even get the words out properly in the Family Health Show, and we are in season 4. And you may be thinking, season 4, what happened in season 1, 2, and 3? Well, a lot has happened, and thankfully we have our YouTube channel where you can go back and watch. Well, you're not going to watch all of them because there's over 100. There's plenty, but many different health issues we've covered. Jonathan, could you tell us about some of the things we covered in seasons 1, 2, and 3?
Where do I start, Sharon?
Season 1.
So season 1,
it was a mixture.
Was that the health show? I mean, the men's.
Or it was the men. Well, there's some of the men's show. There's some of the. Was it the No, the Body Systems came out in Fairfully and Wonderfully Made. It was lifestyle diseases.
Can I sum it up this way? If anyone is interested to know the different topics that we covered in each series, I would say whatever lifestyle you can think about or whatever condition, I would say go to the YouTube channel, type it in, and something sure will come up.
Definitely. So we have the lifestyle diseases as well as women's health, men's health, children's health, mental health, and many things like that. Season 2,
all that sort of stuff.
That's
lifestyle.
Right.
Yeah.
In season 2, we looked at the body system. So we looked at the musculoskeletal system, the respiratory system, the central nervous system. We looked at the various body systems, and we also touched on herbs and vitamins as well, and minerals. We touched on that. season, that was entitled Fearfully and Wonderfully Made, wasn't it? Fearfully and Wonderfully Made, Know Your Body. Season 4, Hope. No, season 3 was Hope. That was a short one, a short season. And then that brings you to season 4, where we are now. So we're looking at remedies from where?
Remedies from heaven.
There you go. There you go. I'm sure you were all shouting it out in the background. Heaven. Okay. So today, what's happening today, Jonathan?
So as it was said earlier, today our presenter is Louise, and she will be looking at how to make different poultices. Well, she'll be demonstrating some of it, which is good. So we'll have the practical application to what we are doing.
Absolutely. And if you haven't got these, I think she'll be using things that you can get access to. So make a note.
Or she's got them available.
Yeah,
I know she's got quite a few things there.
That is true. That is true. So make a note, get your pen and paper, or be ready to do your screenshots, snapshots, take a picture of the screen. And I'm sure there'll be a lot of information there for you. As it says on this poster, you can follow us on our YouTube channel to keep up to date with events and upcoming programs and a lot more. So we do have this on YouTube. So if you've missed something, although you're on here now, but if you get distracted and you want to go back and see what you missed, you can go to the YouTube channel. You can forward it, you can rewind it, you can pause it, you can do what you want, you can share it with others as well. So that facility will be available for you today. What you missed last week? What happened last week? That says last time. It was actually, it was last week. Go ahead, John. No, go on.
So last week we had Marcia Mendoza, and she teaches us a lot about herbs in the Bible, and by popular demand we will have her back, I think, on the 18th of March. So if you missed last week, you can also, again, you can go on the YouTube channel and you can find her presentation there. Actually, this week I had a few people asking me to actually send them the link to it.
Right. Okay. Well, the things that she covered briefly, she did an introduction to the correct way of using herbs for medicine, because the devil always has his counterfeit. So she cautioned us against the incorrect way of using herbs in spiritualism, etc., different methods. And she introduced us to 2 particular herbs, as you can see on there. We looked at figs and mandrake. And some of you may be thinking, mandrake? Okay, well, go back and watch and you'll see the many benefits of mandrake. It's not just got one, it's got many. And some of you, figs, as well as tasting nice and being an alternative to sugar in certain foods, it could be some baking or something like that, and making a nice spread like a jam. It has medicinal purposes. So go back and watch and see if you can find something that you can apply to your lives. And Marcia also revealed to us the topics for her part 2, as Jonathan alluded to. There will be a part 2. And to be honest, we could have a part 3, 4, 5. We could have a whole series just on herbs from the Bible. But we're going to be looking at remedies from heaven in this season. So it's not just going to be herbs. So coming soon will be part 2 on the 11th of March. Sorry, forgive me. The 11th of March will be part 2. And then on the 18th, Sonia Barnes will be giving a presentation as well. So watch this space, or watch the various groups, the Telegram groups, and we'll fill you in with the topics coming up with the posters that will be relevant. Okay. So where are we inviting people, Jonathan? Where are we inviting people to?
Perhaps someone who has been and taste and see could tell you. Maybe someone from the audience want to talk about their experience, Sharon. We are inviting people to Catherine Lee.
That's right. So as you can see, we've got our poster up there. This is for the new, our second health retreat, our second health conference, entitled Revive, Rejuvenate and Reform. And this is what we did last summer, and we've got our second one coming up. And as you can see, we have a variety of presenters. We've got the spiritual team. We have workshops, which involves a big variety of topics, as you can see on there. And there'll be presenters, many of whom you would have seen on TTI, will be running the workshops. And we also have treatment rooms. And the price, I didn't intend to put it on there because it's still Sabbath, but as you can see, it's affordable. So more information will be available if you contact the details that are on there, AH Reformers and TT International. So yes, this is an opportunity where somebody can come on and speak and tell us about, there you go. The price is no longer on there. See you this year, August 28, 2023. So if anybody would like to share with us what they found or what they felt about last year. Anybody?
Was very, very good.
Hey, hi, Ronnie.
Yes, very, very good. And I would love to come again.
Oh, we'd love to have you. Love to have you. And thank you for commenting. Brilliant. Okay.
Was there anything particular you want to talk about that was good? Or was it the whole experience?
The whole experience.
Okay. So this year, do you think you'll bring somebody else with you?
I'm just been talking to my husband and discussing dates.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. We pray that it will work out and that he'll be able to come, and anybody else that you invite. So I will actually share a video at the end of this promotional thing. Well, I can share it now. Shall I stop it now? Should I share the video now?
You could
I
do.
think I will. Yeah, okay, I'll do that. So share sound. Okay, let's share this.
Come apart and rest a while, full of preaching, teaching, healing, and lots more. It's a 7-day health conference in the UK. Welcome to Cabbage 2022. So you might be wondering when the next one is. Well, it's the 28th of August to the 3rd of September in 2023, and it's taking place in the beautiful countryside, Cabbage, Wales. If interested, please email ahreformers@gmail.com or go to ttinternational.org for more information. We can't wait to see you there.
So I will say, Sharon, for some of us, we have seen this video many, many times, but each time we see it again, it just brings back so many happy memories. And I'm really looking forward to the new one as well.
Definitely.
To make more memories.
Yes, yes. And the thing is, on that video, Naomi says, you know, welcome to Cabbage 2022, because she was sharing with us some clips and videos of last year's conference. You're not able to hear me?
I can hear you.
Someone says no sound.
No, I can hear you.
Okay.
I can hear.
Okay, well, perhaps if one of the admins can just type a message in the chat for the person who has no sound, that they may need to come out and come out of this Zoom and come back in again, or go out and come back in. You know what I'm trying to say. But yes, so last year, that was what was shown in the video, and this year we're inviting you. So hopefully we can make some more memories. Well, we will be able to make some more memories, and we're looking forward to seeing you there. Okay, there's a comment in the chat, I believe. Let's have a look what it says. Great memories. Yes, Sonia. Yes, definitely. I should have put that picture up with you in there, but anyway, it didn't happen this time. Okay, maybe next time. Okay, right. So yeah. So please check out our new TTI website. The website details are there, ttinternational.org, and that will have our latest promotions, which includes a trip to the Holy Land with a couple of our previous presenters. There's a lot more on the website as well. If you go on there, there's a link now. We currently have, yeah, there we go. We're now on social media. So from the website, there's a link to our Facebook page and our Instagram account, which is just in its infancy, the Instagram. The Facebook started a while ago, but we'll be putting more things on, more recent things, more recent posts. So feel free to join us or share with your friends if they prefer to use those methods. Okay, Jonathan, would you like to say something about this slide? And we're almost done with our promos.
Oh, this is an opportunity for those who would like to support us, be it whatever the Lord impress you, financially or otherwise. You may be able to offer your skills in your technical skills, computing or whatever, wherever you can aid the ministry and help us to grow the ministry. So we can be a force to reckon with. The details are there if you want to contact us to offer your support in whatever way. It doesn't have to be financial. It could be, you know, whatever skills you have and it can bring value to what we are doing. We are more than appreciative of it.
Definitely. It could even be, you know, when we are in Kefenly in advance, you may have something that you want to recommend to us and perhaps even, you know, physically help out with. So that would be brilliant. All volunteers are welcome to apply. Okay, we won't turn anybody away. Obviously, you have to be relevant skills, you know. We're not going to ask you to play the piano if you can't. Okay. Right, so before we dive into today's presentation, which I'm sure some people are rearing to go, we're going to share our disclaimer. I'll just read that because yeah. Only a professional health practitioner can diagnose or treat medical conditions. Any information discussed or disclosed on the True Temperance International Family Health Show is for educational and informational purposes. Please continue to seek professional medical advice from your GP or health practitioner regarding any disease that you may be suffering from. We will be given a practical demos on today's show. And like we said, if you do have a previous, or I'm sure Louise will say, if you do have a previous medical condition and you're under treatment, consult the person who's looking after you. Okay? It might be a physio, it might be, I don't know, some other kind of medical practitioner. So as we said, today we are moving on with our poultices. Today is going to be not CJ, another grandchild, and I'm sure we'll find out who she is. I forgot her name. It's just gone from me. I'm waiting for you, Jonathan, to help me with the prompt.
No, it's fine. We can go over to Louise.
Okay. We could do with some kind of memory help herbs right now. Okay, so thank you, everybody. And I will stop my share. And we'll introduce Louise as well, because we don't like to just dive in, Louise. Let's help you to relax and, just chillax and feel at ease with us. Although I know you do anyway. But we've got, Jonathan, do you have a question for Louise? Because I like to just like a warmer kind of icebreaker kind of thing.
I'll come back to you. She may not like my question.
Okay, all right, I'll ask a question then. I haven't got one in mind, so the Lord needs to work quick. Okay, please, Holy Spirit, give me a question. Okay, right, so Louise.
Okay, Louise, my question to you, why do you do what you do? And that relating to medical missionary work.
Oh, and before you answer that, I also have another question. How long have you been doing medical missionary work?
Okay, so before you answer that, so I'll go to you first. Then Jonathan, I'll come back to you after. Is that okay?
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Okay, so I've been doing medical missionary for over 5 years, and much more than 5 years, isn't it? My daughter Adenike can tell me like much more than that. So it's been much more than 5 years, but I've been doing full-time medical missionary work for at least 5-6 years. The other time I was doing it quite part-time-ish, and my ministry is self-supporting, so we're not getting money from conference or whatever. We're just doing this as the Lord has impressed me. And also we use our home to have in-house clients, to have house guests in our home for like 7 or 10 days, sometimes just 3 days, depending on what the house guest needs. And we work with anything from colds to cancers. So yeah, it's been a journey. I'm always learning. There's never a point where I'm not learning. There's never a point where I'm not learning. So if the day comes when I don't need to learn anything else, that it's because the new heavens and the new earth has gone away, and then we're going to be learning all over again. And why do I do it? I feel it's my calling, and I love to be trying to support people, especially with the health work, because I think it's an important work in terms of the link with the gospel work. So that's the reason I love to do it. It's just like, if I hear somebody, sometimes I'm somewhere and somebody's talking about, oh, I'm not feeling well, this happened or whatever. It's like my ears start tingling. And so I'm like, I can't hear anything else. My ear goes in that direction. And I go to, when that person's on their own or whatever, you know, I was in a church a couple of weeks back, and they were talking about their child had this really bad cold infection, some bronchitis thing and stuff like that. And she had to be put on a ventilator and stuff like that. She had to stay in the hospital. So when she was talking about this, you know, I was like, oh, I must talk to that mum afterwards. And then later on, I saw the mum with the young child, which was about 1, and it was really, really cold that day. And guess what? The baby didn't have a hat on. And so I was talking to the mum just about it, and I was saying to her, you know, you need to be careful, always keep the baby's head nice and warm when you're going to the cold and stuff. This will prevent her getting coughs and colds as quickly as possible, as quickly as maybe she's used to having. And she was like very accommodating. She wasn't like, oh, don't talk to me about how my child should be raised. She was very grateful for the little advice. So yeah, it just makes me feel like I'm like doing something worthwhile for the Lord and for my community, my family, and also by God's grace for the kingdom to come.
And one last follow-up question, Louise. Thank you for that. What keep you motivated?
Before you answer that question, Louise, we're just struggling. I know. We're just struggling to see you. I know you've got multiple devices on, so we're hearing you from one screen, but we're seeing you on another screen. And for the purpose of what comes up on YouTube, I think they may only be seeing Adenike's screen as you're speaking, because that's the device that's picking up your voice. And then Edgar was also asking one question as well. He just wants to throw one in as well. He's asking, what's the best thing that you find about being a medical missionary? So Jonathan's got one and Edgar's got one. I thought
Sorry, what was your question, Sharon? Can you hear me and see me?
Yes.
We can hear you and see you, Louise.
Much, much better. You can't hear us? Can you do sign language?
Sorry, you're on mute. Sorry, your volume button on the end, because I was streaming up too. Sorry.
That's okay. That's fine. That's fine. Technical hitch. It gives us time to compose ourselves.
There you go. Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes,
we
we
can.
can. Loud and clear.
Good. All my tech people are around me because I'm really bad at this. Amen for the tech people. So, what was your question, Sharon? From
Edgar, he was saying, what do you like best about being a medical missionary?
Just the fact that I can use the gospel work and the health work together. I love the fact that I can do that. I like the fact that it gives me the opportunity to talk to people, not just when, in fact, it's the best opportunity for me that when someone comes to my house or I meet someone somewhere or I'm doing a presentation at church, sometimes, you know, I might do a presentation in terms of like a sermon or something. And then afterwards, you see this stream, a line of people. And when I see that, although it's really tiring, I feel so good. Do you understand? So sometimes my husband or my children have to come and pull me away and say, Mum, you know, you need to leave. We have to. And I'm like, yeah, just one more minute, just one more minute. That gives me the greatest satisfaction. And also when people are here who are not Christians, yeah, and they come to the in-house programs, it gives me the opportunity, because we're having morning worship, you know, that type of stuff. We're talking about the health part of the lifestyle in terms of our diet, in terms of going for exercising and stuff like that. And because of all this, I feel like I've had the opportunity to introduce them to the gospel. And so to me, that is the main and the greatest thing about all of this. Jonathan, your question at long.
Oh, so my question, Louise, I think we can forego my question because I'm just thinking about the time, and maybe somewhere in your presentation, if you want to answer it, you can answer it, but it's fine. I'm happy for you to carry on.
Okay, great stuff.
Okay, whilst we're waiting for the changeover, thank you for the technical help, Adenike, and anybody else who's assisting in Louise's house. Thank you so much, and thank you, God, as well, for your help. And hopefully we can spotlight this camera, Louise Reid 2. Is that the one we need to spotlight?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll go quiet, and I think you'll be the only one on there anyway. So yeah, we'll all go mute. Welcome.
Okay. So one of the things we're going to be doing is poultices and compresses. This is just one session of what we're going to be doing. This is just a first session, and we're going to be doing very basic things today. But as we go on, things will get a little bit more complicated. Well, it's not complicated, but people may think it's. So we're going to start nice and easy today in terms of some of the things that you can use for compresses and for poultices. Now, as you can see, my table is well laid, okay? So over here in this jar, we have activated ventilated green clay. That's kind of similar to bentonite clay, but it's a much higher and it's got greater mineral levels in it, and it just works absolutely lovely at adsorbing and absorbing stuff from the body. You can take it internally, externally, and we're going to use that for a poultice today. We're going to be using some clay today for poultices. So we've got our clay. And now to store our clay is a wonderful and versatile thing. You can drink it, you can put it on the inside, you can put it on the outside, you can put it on lots of places. You can mix it in with other things in terms of binding, and you can also use it in terms of just drinking the water instead of the whole liquid itself. So that's our ultra ventilated green clay here. And we have olive oil, which we'll use for mixing up a few things. This is Pastor Sam's olive oil, although it's in this bottle. I do not sell it. I call this a precious gem. And until we get our next lot in. So this one's all the way from Spain, from Pastor Sam's farm, which we're waiting for the next batch to come in at the moment. And in this jar here, we have activated charcoal, okay? Now, I'm sure lots of the viewers know already about activated charcoal, and we're using activated charcoal today we're going to be using activated charcoal today to make some poultices as well, and also to show you some very quick things of what to do with activated charcoal as a poultice, activated charcoal as water, and also activated charcoal if you get burns, Okay. Now, if you come a little bit closer for me, Adenike, in our first jar here, we have some medicinal cayenne pepper. Now, this cayenne pepper is about 135 heat unit in here. You don't need it to be that hot, okay? You don't need it to be that hot. You need it to be around 95 to be good grade food medicinal cayenne pepper. And we're going to be using that as a poultice today. And we're going to be using also turmeric, Okay, we've got turmeric in here, ground turmeric. And this is an organic one that I've purchased. The cayenne pepper is an organic one as well. And we're going to be using turmeric today as part of our poultice making as well. Now, in this jar here, we have, can you see that? Okay, let's make it a lot easier. Right here, let's just get down to the business. We've got some flaxseed here, and this is ground flaxseed. So how we deal with flaxseed is like this. People usually buy ground flaxseed from the store. I don't recommend you do that because flaxseed can turn rancid quite quickly. We don't know how long it's been on the store and on the shop. So what you do, you buy organic if possible. If you can't buy organic, buy normal. And what we're going to be doing with the flaxseed is grinding it in like a blender when we need to. So with flaxseed, what I normally do is like I might grind about 2 or 3 tablespoons at one time, and I'm using flax and I store it in the fridge. So I'm only using what I need. And then when that runs out, I blend the next lot, put it in the bottle, put it in the fridge. That's better for storage, stops the rancid stuff happening very quickly. And it's a much better way to deal with it. And of course, we have our honey. This is our own honey. This is Romanian honey that we sell ourselves. And this honey can be purchased from ourselves. But this honey we're going to be using with some of our poultices here. And in this jar here, we have charcoal and flaxseed. So I've mixed the activated charcoal from this bottle here. And I've used flaxseed here. And I've made it into this jello here, okay? So we're going to be using that. So you know in the when people's cooking and they said, and this is one we made earlier, this is what we're going to be doing today. Now, if you come around here to my table, my goodie table, I call it here, we've got garlic and we've got onions. Now, we're not going to be using onions and garlics today as poultices, but we will be doing so in the future. So we're just looking at different things that we'll be able to use for poultices. And onions and garlics, we know, are antibacterial, anti-everything, basically. And we're going to be using those along future programs that we're going to be doing with TTI. And one of the other things we're going to be using is cabbage leaf. We're going to be using one of these poultices today in 2 different ways. Okay, so we're going to be using this in 2 different ways. We're going to be using this one to talk about if you have mastitis. This is when your breast gets really inflamed and sore and really full up, especially when you're breastfeeding. We're going to be showing you a way of how to relieve that very quickly. And also we're going to be using cabbage leaves as a poultice for like if you've got arthritis and aches and pains in your knees and all that type of stuff. So we're going to be using those today. Now, cabbage has this pull-in effect. And what I find with cabbage as well, it really helps with like, I was in Grenada one year, my mum's, all her knees were hurting her with arthritis and stuff like that. And we simply use cabbage leaf and clay. And I'll show you how we're going to do that today. Okay, so let's start with, let's just say we had a burn. Let's just say we had a burn. Okay, if we had a burn, my grandson had a burn when he was younger down the arm. They took him to the walking clinic and they put a bandage over it and dressed it and whatever. And me being me, the medical missionary, I couldn't help myself. I went and I took the bandage off and I had a look and the skin was healing up. But to me, it wasn't healing fast enough. And also, I didn't want him to have a scar. Do you understand? Because it was really, really hot water. Okay, so we went to work secretly. We didn't tell mum because mum would get cross with me. Okay. But mum knows now, so don't worry, mum knows now. And what we simply did was use some activated charcoal. So I'm going to use just a tablespoon here of activated charcoal. And I'm going to use some water here. And we're just going to make it into a little paste. If you pour too much water in the first time, don't panic. So we're going to stir that in. So that's thickening up now. So if you can see that, that's thickening up now, okay? So you can make that a little bit thicker, or you can have that a little bit runny. So I'm going to leave it like this because we're only doing a demonstration purpose. And then what I did was simply now I'm going to struggle to open this. Okay, so let me call my husband in because my granddaughter's busy doing whatever. Mimi, Nakaya, I need your assistant. So what we did was simply put some the charcoal paste on here. There she can sit on the chair. Bring a chair with you, Nakaya. Sit down. Taylor, and that's in the chair. Sit down. Yeah. Just sit down. And then what we did is we just applied it on the burn, just like that. We can apply it directly, okay? You can apply it directly. And then we just put the bandage back around it, or we just taped it down. So now these are professional and they use this in the hospitals and stuff like that. I'd rather use this than cling film. But if you didn't have one of these, yeah, you can actually use just normal cling film. Okay, so what we did was we kept it in secure in place just by placing this over. So you can see that's been held firmly in place. We're going to remove that. I don't like. And there we have our charcoal poultice for burns and stuff like that. The other way we can do this is to simply sprinkle dry charcoal poultice on the area. Okay, so these are the fabrics we're using to hold it in place. Thank you, Makaya, for that. But if you want to just sprinkle dry charcoal poultice along the burn area, and then what you can do is just put the bandage back round, which we have a bandage here. You could just wrap the bandage back around directly on the skin. Of course, it will be tighter. And then you put a little of the mascarpone tape here and stick it down, okay? And just hold that in place. One of the other ways to hold it in place is to use something like this. And this can be used on the arm or the leg. And this is called a large tubular bandage. So with the tubular bandage, you would just cut out what you needed. We're only going to cut a little bit for demonstration purposes. And as you can see, my scissors is not the normal scissors, okay? My scissors are those that you use to cut material with, okay? So I always have some of this in my medical box. Okay, we'll put that in here. And so what would happen is that if you didn't have anything like this sticky thing, you would simply use a part of the tubular bandage, put the cling film on, and you can hold it in place simply like this. And you're safe, you can go out, and if you want to be extra safe, you can just put some mascarpone tape around there and it will hold it in place, okay? Thank you. Thank you, Makaya. Okay, so that's our charcoal poultice. That's our charcoal poultice. That's our charcoal poultice. Our charcoal poultice. And as I said, you can use activated charcoal dryly. Now, another way you can use activated charcoal, very simply, is, Josh, can you get me a cup, please? Another way you can do this is by using activated charcoal. You can use activated charcoal, and you can use it, we're using it in a way to stop the inflammation in the system. So one of the ways you can do that, you've got two ways you can do it. You can use this for like if you've had food poisoning, or if like, for instance, thank you. So if like, for instance, you had food poisoning, or if you had, for instance, like an upset stomach, diarrhea, anything like that, we can use this. So for purposes only, for demonstration purposes, we're going to put a tablespoon in here. And one of the things you can do is just pour about 100 mils, 200 mils of water in here, using in accordance to the amount that you need. You'd stir that in.
That's excellent, Louise. You let the thing look very professional there.
Thank you.
Someone is asking though. I don't know if you want to take question as you're presenting, because someone was.
Yeah, and if I say I'll do that at the end, that's fine. They just have to remember to come back to me. So what's the question? As I stir.
Someone was asking where can they get that clay, and also they were okay.
Yeah.
So for the sake of everyone, you can get the clay from Louise, but also they were asking as well, where can they get that high strength cayenne pepper?
Now, getting this high strength cayenne pepper, as I said, you do not need 135 heat unit, yeah? But you can use 90, 95 upwards. That's quite, 95 is perfectly, 90, 95 is perfectly fine. So it's not going to be the normal cayenne pepper you see in your Tesco store in the little glass jars. That is not medicinal, okay? That's not medicinal grade. So I'm just going to pass this charcoal to my husband, and he's going to drink that, okay? Their granddad and granddaughter are going to drink that one. Now, another way to...
and what does that good for?
Sorry, that we were talking about diarrhea, we were talking about stomach aches, we were talking about detoxing, using the charcoal for detoxing, and we were talking about inflammation. So inflammation. Now, one of the other ways, which I think is really important that I want to show you. Don't talk. Try not to talk. Can you get me a saucer, please? Saucer, please.
I think you are muted, Louise. Louise, you just need to unmute.
Yeah, it wasn't allowing before. The host had stopped people being able to unmute.
So can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So one of the other ways to use activated charcoal is simply like this. So I've put a tablespoon in, and let's just say that's like 200 mils of water. Now, one of the things about activated charcoal, you took it the first time, the way you saw us taking it, was that when you use activated charcoal, it's very important to use water a lot in between, okay? So you're flushing, letting it flush through the system. Otherwise, some people complain about getting constipation. We don't want that to happen, okay? So you can just use that to flush, okay? So you use another glass of water every time you take activated charcoal. And also, one of the things you do is from time to time, have a glass of water as well. Now, we put some activated charcoal in here, in this glass here. And one of the things we're going to do is just put that to the side. Where's my saucer, please, babes? We're just going to leave this one here to the side. And this is what we call a slurry, okay? So that means we're drinking the activated charcoal water, but we're only using the water. So the charcoal will separate from the bottom. The charcoal will go down to the bottom, and then we will use what we call the slurry. So we're going to cover that. And usually you would cover it for at least 2 hours for inflammation. You'd cover that and you will leave it for 2 hours, and then you will drink just the liquid part and not the bottom, the black bit at the bottom of the jug. Okay, so that's activated charcoal. all my helpers, can you wash that for me and bring it back to it's dry?
So I know last conference we had, Louise, you were one of the, you presented at one of the workshop. Will you be doing any treatment like these at the health conference?
Well, this year at the health conference, I'm going to be doing, my topic is going to be cancer. Does it mean the end? Okay. And the reason I've chosen to do that topic this year at the health conference with TTI is that a lot of my clients, health guests, are complaining, young and old. It's not a old person's disease or life-threatening thing. It's happening to even our very young. And so we're going to be touching on cancer, and we're going to be doing some demonstrations on what we can do when we get cancer. Okay, yeah, how we can treat it, how we can prevent it, and if we do get it, unfortunately, what do we do if we want to go the natural step and not have chemotherapy or radiotherapy? Okay, so we will be covering some of those practical and theory at TTI's retreat in Wales. So make sure every single body here is at Wales later on this year, because it's going to be out of this world. All the presentations are going to be out of this world. Okay, thank you. Now, our next presentation that we're going to do here is with the cayenne pepper. So we had a cayenne pepper here. In here is about a tablespoonful. Let's just move these out of the way for a moment. And we're going to use this today for pain relief, and also if you get a cut. So if you get a cut, cayenne is one of the best ways to stop you from bleeding. It could stop you from bleeding to death. Cayenne could be used for so many things, heart attacks. And Dr. Christopher, in one of his books, says that he doesn't go anywhere, the late Dr. Christopher, without cayenne pepper. Okay.
I can attest to that, Louise. The cayenne pepper for clotting. I once had a cut, but I can tell you it burns.
Yes. So my grandsons were in the kitchen in their houses. I was babysitting, and they went into the kitchen and they were doing sword fighting with knives. They took the knives out the drawer and they were doing sword fightings with knives, unbeknown to Gran. Okay. And my eldest grandson got quite a deep cut on his finger. It was like a really deep cut, and it was bleeding out. It would not stop bleeding. We add the pressure to it, it wouldn't stop bleeding. So what we did in the end was get some cayenne pepper, and we simply sprinkled it in the wound. We sprinkled it in the wound. And you can, as Jonathan said, he screamed at first because it does burn. And remember, we were using a very high grade cayenne pepper. So it stopped it for a while, but every time he banged it, it would start bleeding again. So of course, Gran being Gran, went to work on this. This is what Gran does, by God's grace. So we mixed some cayenne pepper here with some honey. So I'm just pouring in, this is about 2 tablespoons of honey in here, and we mixed it together. So we got a nice paste. Can you see that turning into a paste? Can all the audience see that pasty type of thing?
Yes, we can.
Good, okay. So Mimi, you come up to me, please, and then you can mix this up for me.
Yeah.
Come around, please. Okay, so Micaiah is going to finish mixing that for us while I prepare the bandage. The cayenne pepper's just gone down Adenike's throat. No, thank you. Assistant, come here. Assistant, okay. So Micaiah, you carry on mixing that into a nice paste. No, you need to put it up so that the audience can see it, and Mommy's going to record. Okay, so mix that up until it gets into a nice. So that's turned into a paste.
Will you be mixing anything else with that, Louise?
No, you can do other things you can do, like you can do comfrey oil in there or comfrey powder in there. That's good for healing as well. And then what we're going to do now is simply put some of that onto one of these pads here. Now, again, you can use gauze, like a bandagey kind of thing. You can use gauze. This is like a pad, a sterile pad, or you can use a kitchen roll. So we're not going to be using it on a very big area. Where's my scissors?
It looks like beans.
So we're just going to cut that down. Can you see how quickly my scissors is cutting through? Yeah, and that's because these are proper scissors that we're going to use. Okay, do you want to come and put some of that on this for me? So we're going to do this 2 ways. Stay here, baby. Come back around to me, sorry. So you can put a little bit on here.
Just a little.
Yeah, in the middle. Oops. Okay, let's get some more.
So yeah.
So you can see we're putting it here. And this time we're going to demonstrate on Grandad.
Because it will be too hot.
It might be a little bit too hot for you.
That's why I didn't want to do it.
So if Grandad had a cut on the back of his hands, we would simply place it where the cut is. See here.
So can you tell us a little more why you use the honey?
So the honey is also good for healing. It's antibacterial and all that type of stuff. And and it helps to seal in as well. And of course, that pacing thing, we want all that to happen. Antibacterial, we don't want no germs in there. We want it to do the healing process. It seals things up. And then what we will do is...
Do you think it's helped with the hotness of the cayenne pepper?
Of course, with the heat, it does do that. Just 1 minute. Let's get to here. Oh, we'll use something else. I was doing it, yeah.
Now, I know Bernard is a brave man, but Bernard, does it tingle a little bit then?
No, it's haven't tingling. I feel nothing.
Yet.
Yeah. He hasn't got a cut in his
in his arm. Okay. So if we added more of the cayenne pepper, guaranteed it will tingle. So we're just going to seal that down again. You help me? Okay, just put that over. And you want to take that off? And this is ways you can get your children involved in the health work, mummies and dads. So we've got a nice pet poultice there, or compress there, and that's going to seal in there, and that brings healing. Now, when I looked at that the next day, it had already started, even though the cayenne pepper was stuck inside of the wound, that does not matter at all. It had already started healing itself. Literally, it had already started healing itself. And this is why we use the cayenne pepper and we use the honey together. Another way to do this.
Sorry, can I just ask? I've just actually joined. Is that just a mixture of honey and cayenne pepper?
That's correct.
Lovely.
So the other way to do this, of course, would be on a kitchen towel, because we don't all have those pads with us as we would like. And we can do that, turn the edges in. And of course, we would do the same as we did here. We would seal it down and put it on the cut or the wound or whatever it is. And one of the things that I've used this for as well, and you can just keep that on for a couple of hours and then you can take it off. If necessarily, let it breathe for about an hour or so if it stopped bleeding, and then you can put another one on. But usually by the next day, you wouldn't have to necessarily use another poultice. Now, one of the things I was going to say with cayenne pepper, one of my daughters, she has problems with the back. And what we do, we make this type of compress for her. And of course, it's in a larger quantity. And then we put it directly on the back area where you're feeling the pain. So we're going to put it down there. We're going to strap it down. And using these type of sealants here, dressings here, is very good for just healing it, keeping it in place, because you can move around, you can do things. One of the other ways that we do this is by putting this on with organic castor oil, and we can put cayenne pepper in there as well. We mix it in the same way. We put it onto the back, and then we can have infrared heat on it with the infrared lamp, and we'll be demonstrating how to use the infrared lamp later in a different program, in one of the follow-up programs, or you can just get a hot water bottle, being very careful. You put the poultice down on the area, you put towel over it, and then you would put the hot water bottle over that, because we don't want anybody getting burnt. Okay.
Just
So,
to say as well, Louise, at this stage, just to let our audience know that this year at the conference, we'll be having our mini medical missionary training, which will be hosted.
The brown girls, yeah, the brown girls, that's right.
Yeah, so just to let the parents know, if they are interested, to come prepared for that, but also would like them to express their interest beforehand.
Yes.
So we know, you know, who is willing to you know, for their children to take part in that.
Yes. So as Jonathan said, and this is very important, thank you, Jonathan, for reminding me about this, okay? It is so important to start training our children now, because, you know, we're in a kind of crisis at the moment where the National Health Service, God bless the National Health Service, it has its uses, yeah? And we won't badmouth the National Health Service, because I've been to lots of countries where they do not have National Health Service. And I can guarantee you, once you've been to those countries and then you come back here to England, you are glad you have the National Health Service. Trust me, okay? So we use the National Health Services for what we want them to. A lot of the time I send my clients to get x-rays and whatever and MRIs, or get a test, blood test. We need the National Health Service to do that. You paid your taxes and your national insurance, go and get the tests. Some people say, oh, I'm not going to hospital. And I say to them, well, I can't treat you because I'm not a guessing game. I'm not a doctor, qualified doctor. I work alongside doctors, but I need you to get the questions that I want answered. And so you have to use those facilities to do that. Adenike.
Someone's asked, what is it okay to use any type of honey?
Yes, you can use any type of honey, but I always use very good quality honey. I only use Romanian honey. I've only been using Romanian honey for the last 5-6 years. It never stops in my house. I order them in bulk, I sell them, I use them at home, and I use that in everything. So I use them for medicinal purposes, for anything. But you can use shop honey as well. How well shop honey works, I'm not 100% sure, because I've never used it for that reason, but try it. But I use this honey, but I'm sure it works I'm sure it might work as effectively. Okay, so I'm going to move this over, and we're moving on to.
I think someone called Colin has their hand up. Is it a question?
Colin?
Hello, yes, this is Colin. It's a question and some comments. Hello, everybody. Hi, all the hosts, and hi, Louise.
Hi, Colin. I was just responding to you.
That's okay. That's okay. It's just that my point is relevant to what has just been shared. But I did say, though, it might be a bit of a 1.5 minute testimony, if that's allowed.
It's fine, Colin. Go ahead. We'll take your testimony.
So, the brief backstory is this. Around about December, January time, I was doing some real excessive exercising, doing my 5 miles walk a day, and doing very well. As a matter of fact, Google was telling me that I'm in the top 5% globally for all my walking for people of my age. So I thought I was doing fine, except to say that about 3 or so weeks ago, I noticed my toenail getting black, my big toe. And I was thinking that it was a fungal infection. And I thought I need to go and get this checked out, put some antibiotic on it. Anyway, beginning of this week, Monday, I believe it was, I cut my toenails, and I've never seen anything like it. Blood started spewing out of my big toe. I realized then that bad blood, dark colored blood, was being trapped underneath the toenail. So divine common sense came in here. I thought, I've got to put a poultice on this. I've never done one before, but I thought it was necessary now. And so between my wife and I, what I decided to do was to mix up, well, first of all, I wiped it down with some isopropyl alcohol to remove any possible chance of further infection going in. And then I mixed up some garlic, turmeric, cayenne pepper. But the type of honey that I used was Manuka honey. Manuka honey it might have the name honey in it. I don't keep it in the kitchen. I keep it in the medicine cabinet because it is more curative and restorative than it is for something for putting on your cornflakes. And I mixed up that with the garlic, with the pepper, on a small paper plate using a teaspoon, and applied that to the big toenail, and then wrapped it round with the gauze. And I happened to have some very light colored socks, and I kept that on throughout the night. I replaced it and did the same thing about 2 days later. I saw somebody ask a question about how long do you have it on the body for. So I didn't want to be disturbing it, but I kept it on there for another 2 days. So now that it is 5 days later, I am now at this very minute looking at it. I won't show it to you on camera because some of you will be very turned off. But it's a lot better. It's now looking more brown than black. I did consider the matter somewhat serious because I know that if you got bad blood just stuck there at the surface of the body and you can't move it, it can be something that can get a great deal worse. So it has to be treated. But the challenge was, how do you get underneath a toenail to remove a potential toxin? So that's what I did. And what I've also just learned now then from Louise, and thank you, Louise, is perhaps in terms of removing final stages of toxins in there, it's perhaps the same sort of poultice, but using the activated charcoal. And then the question might be to use that with, as I say, a very high grade Manuka honey, which you probably won't get from your typical supermarket. But something that when you do your research, you'll find there are various grades, there are various compounds in it, hydrogen peroxide, which helps to act as an anti-bacterial agent as well too. So that was my experience just over these past 4 or 5 days.
Amen. Thank you for sharing that, Colin.
You're welcome.
Amen. Thank you, Colin. That was a great testimony, and it gave me time to have a sip of my coffee tea, my peppermint tea. Thank you very much. Now, excellent. Our next demonstration is going to be with turmeric powder. Now, turmeric is good for inflammation. It is even better if you're not using it medicinally in this way that we're going to use it, when you use it in your cooking. So not of like the Asians and the West Indian people, those we're using this in our food, and sometimes we don't understand what benefit we're doing to our bodies. So as my granddaughter Makaya is demonstrating here, the turmeric powder is in the bowl, and in here we have about a tablespoon, about 2 to 3 teaspoons of turmeric powder. And what we're using this for on this occasion, come to me, is for healing purposes. Now, one of the things that people come to me with, especially if they've had chemotherapy, radiotherapy, is burns. Chemotherapy burns, those type of things. And if you want to stop things like infections, if you want to start healing the skin over, you can also use this procedure. So we have our turmeric powder. One of the other things that I would put in there is ground rosemary. So your rosemary will be dried. So it's a powder form. I don't have any ground rosemary today. And what we would also be using is either honey, or we can use no sugar. No, we'll use honey. Yeah, we would definitely not be using sugar. I say we're not using sugar, but you can use sugar at times, and we can discuss that another times. And people may think that's crazy, but when we show you what it's for, then you will understand the process. So we're going to put
I love to see how Makaya is so eager to get involved with the remedies. So bless you, Makaya. You never know, God might use what you're doing now to help grandma one day.
Trust me. You know what they say, train up the child? Stir it up, please. Sorry, I don't want my honey to waste. I'm just gonna lick it up here while no one's looking. So we can see that, oh, I've got cayenne pepper on my finger. Turning into a nice paste. Let's whip it in.
It looks like we're cooking.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like the dumplings.
Oh, it's when you're making dumplings. This looks like dough, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so you could put a bit more honey in there, and you'd have your cayenne pepper. Not cayenne pepper. You would have your turmeric, your honey, and you would have your rosemary powder in here. So we don't have rosemary powder in here. And what we would be doing basically is making a paste, and then we would put it on the tissue or the bandage like we did the last time. We're going to put it in the middle. We're going to use this paste, as you can see.
Nice.
The benefits of this paste, please.
So with the benefits of this paste, especially if you've had burns, all those type of stuff, wound healing, trying to seal up areas that keep bleeding, all those type of things, we're using it for that purpose here today. And what we would do is either put it on directly. Yes. Okay, you're going to have a messy chest, especially if you've had radiation. I don't think you're going to be worrying about a messy chest at this stage. Or you can put it onto the kitchen towel like we've done here, bend it in, and of course, seal it onto the area wherever that radiation burn is. Okay. So I was talking to Mayman Wilson just yesterday, I think it was, and he was telling me about the greatness he's had to use this with in terms of people's had radiation burns, those type of things, to reduce the radiation burn topically in terms of there. And the pain that comes with it, that will help relieve the pain as well. So this is one of the remedies that you can use that for as well for today. But we'll be using more of these poultices, and we'll be explaining why you can use it in other ways. Now, Granddad, if you wash these for me, please, and bring them back for me, that'd be really good. So
I've got another question for you, please, Louise.
Yeah.
I noticed when you did the cayenne pepper poultice, you put it directly on Bernard's skin, but then the other time when you demoed it, you put the tissue on, like you folded it over. And just now with the turmeric, you folded it over. And what's the difference between, why would you at sometimes put it on directly and at other times fold it over and place it on the skin?
Okay, so I'm a bit more direct. So sometimes I want it to go directly on, but some people don't want that. They don't want any skin left. They don't want anything stuck to whatever. They don't like it. To me, it doesn't matter. The whole purpose for me is to get the healing. And that's the main thing that I want to do. So some of my clients say, I don't care, you can stick it straight on, it's fine. And then we leave it exposed and open. There's nothing on them. They're just lying down with it. And then other times, if you want to be walking around, of course, and you need to do things in the house, of course, you want to go shopping, you can seal it up, put it on with the tissue, seal it up there, and that's fine. Sometimes you can just put it on directly. And of course, some of the bandages that we have been using here, you can put over it and seal it that way as well. And then you can go about your daily business. It's all about mess control, if you're very fussed about the mess. And also it's about doability, because you want to go out and about. You don't want to be stuck in a position for 3 to 4 hours, because your poultices can stay on for 3 to 4 hours, depending what poultices it is and what you're actually using it for. So those are all the different reasons as well.
Okay.
I've got two questions.
Sorry, going back as well, with you holding up the Tegaderm, somebody asked, what's the sellotape that you use to hold on the skin? And I noticed you use Tegaderm.
And we also have the normal microporous tape. Where are you?
Yeah, I know that's the kind of thing you might find if you work in a hospital and there's a crash trolley, or you work in A&E, you'll see that they use Tegaderm quite a lot, and also those scissors as well.
Yes, and the microporous tape is very easy. Just 1 minute, I'll get it just so that I can demonstrate.
Okay, Jonathan.
So we've got the microporous tape, You can get this in the store. I've bought the wider one because, of course, I wanted to cover a greater area. You can get it half the length of this, or you can get it as thick as this, okay? So it depends on the size that you buy. I've got both, the really thin cut one and then the very thick one. They can seal things into place. These are good, but I find that the Tegaden ones, they are more expensive, yeah, but I find that they are more effective in terms of sealing things down. The only thing is that when you try and pull it off a bit, you may take off a few hairs, yeah? So if you're not squeamish or whatever, then use that. But if not, use this, use the cling film first, take the cling film around the area, and then you can seal it down with this, and you can still go about your daily duties as you are supposed to.
Excellent. Jonathan?
Yeah,
Jonathan.
what I was going to ask you, Louise, is, you know, not all of us are very patient. So how long does these poultices take to work? And second question.
Let me do the first one. The cayenne pepper poultices, especially for heat, for when you've got a cut, they usually work within a couple of minutes. Just sprinkling it on the cayenne pepper on the wound works within a couple of seconds, within a couple of minutes. Other times it may take a bit longer. And of course, you can, like, as I said, when I did it with my grandson, it was about 8 o'clock in the evening. I put the cayenne pepper on first, just the pepper on its own. It did stop it healing, but whenever he moved his hand around quite quickly, or if he hit it on something, I noticed it opened up again. So hence I went in with the honey to bring an even greater healing, and it does this sealing type of thing. Of course, we don't want any bacteria in there. So of course we put the honey in because it's antibacterial as well. So sometimes it can take a few days, and with radiation burns, of course, that takes weeks. That can take weeks and weeks and weeks. It's just about being patient. And if you don't want to be patient, then maybe this is not a method that you should be using, but it's the best, some of the best natural methods. So I would suggest you spend that time on yourself doing this boring thing, but it works in the long run.
So the second question was, does these remedy negate the need for making good lifestyle choices or changes?
Of course, you have to make those changes.
So can't I just carry on and then just use these as I feel like, when I need to?
Right. So if you're using like charcoal, you can use charcoal from time to time. Maybe if you're working in industries where you're doing a lot of construction work, painting work, that type of stuff, using charcoal orally and then the water behind it, of course, is a very good idea, especially on a weekly basis, once a week, twice a week. That is a very, very good thing to do. For me, sometimes I just take charcoal on a day just to help my inside. I don't think there's anything wrong with me, but just in case there's something was wrong, then I would be using it. I'm not using it every single day just for the sake of it. It's just about maintenance, and it's just about, and also using it as and when you need to.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're moving on swiftly. What is the time, Jonathan? Let me see how much time I've got.
I think we're up to 5:18, but I think because we start an hour later, so you should have a little bit more time there. It would be good to have some interaction, I think, though, from the audience, just to hear their thoughts, or, you know, if they do have questions to ask verbally, that is.
Okay. So we're just going to make this poultice here. Let's move this here. So
can I just ask?
So what I would say, Louise, if anyone wants to ask any question from the audience, if they raise their hand, then we will acknowledge them.
Chat.
If you can, or just put a 1 in the chat if you can't find the button to raise your hand or something. Just give us an indication that you want to ask a question.
Ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, the speaker, just 1 minute. You can come right on. Sorry to interrupt you. And if you ask a question while I may be preparing something, that's absolutely fine as well. If I don't get the opportunity to answer you there and then put your question in the chat, of course, and then we will try and answer all the questions as well.
Hi. I was with the meeting last week, and unfortunately I couldn't be this week, but I caught up to you. When I came in, you were doing the honey and cayenne pepper poultice. Had you done much of that before? I'm not sure when you started.
No, when you came in, was we mixing it in?
The honey and the cayenne, yeah.
Yeah, well, then you were there. You came in at the right point then.
Oh, praise God. Thank you.
But remember, this is recorded on YouTube. So you can go onto YouTube and they'll give you the details afterwards. TTI team will give you the details, but it's on YouTube. So you'll be able to go back through and get the video and watch it completely.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
Thank you for your question. Any other questions, Jonathan? Go right ahead. So our next thing that we're going to be using is cabbage, okay? And we're going to be using cabbage for when you have, like, in this instance, especially if you've got pain in the knee or in the elbow.
Question.
There are a couple of questions in the chat about, before you go on to the cabbage. Sorry, this person who's trying to speak. There's one from Nana. She says, can I use the turmeric poultice on an arthritic shoulder for pain?
Yes. The answer to that is yes.
Wonderful. And then there's another question. Sorry. Oh, okay.
Can I, Sharon?
Yep.
Sharon, you can use the turmeric, but you can also use the cayenne pepper one as well for the pain on the shoulder.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant. And there's
a pain oil. We make a natural pain oil. I make it up myself by God's grace. And we use that as well. And it's got lots of it's got like ginger. You can use ginger for turmeric as well.
Yeah.
It's got the ginger in it. It's got the wintergreen. It's got all those type of things in there with your jojoba oil or vitamin E oil. It's all mixed in. And we've got the DMSO in there. And that can go directly onto the area as well. And of course, you can order the pain oils directly from myself.
That sounds like a pain salve then.
But it's an oil. We use it in an oil base, but you can, instead of getting, like a deep rub.
Yeah. It will smell like that because of the wintergreen, won't it? Yeah.
Yes, but it's very, very, very effective.
Okay. There's another question. There's a hand and there's another person about to speak. I'll take the question that was in the chat because that's been up there since for about 5 minutes now. I have a friend who has breast cancer. She has a wound which is quite smelly. She has stage 4 cancer. Can she still use the poultice?
Okay, for that person needs to contact me directly. Sharon, you know how I say already. We don't, when someone's got like a situation like that, then you need to speak to me directly about this. But one of the things I would say very quickly, so that you're not, in case you don't get back in contact with me, one of the ways I'm working with a breast cancer patient right this instant, yeah? And she has some wounds, and what we're doing to stop that smell, she said it was smelling and it was leaking a little bit. We started using a charcoal poultice on the wound. And within a day or so, she couldn't smell the smell anymore, okay? But if it has an infection, we need to be very careful here.
Yeah.
We're using stuff like colloidal silver to clean, peroxide to clean those type of areas first before we put anything on the area. This is
okay. So this will definitely need a personal consultation so you can actually see what's going on. And obviously this isn't the platform for it. But thank you for the question anyway, because but if you do need I'm presuming at some point Louise will leave her details so that if individuals need to contact her, she can deal with personal scenario situations, but of course she's going to be busy.
Sharon, if one of the TTI teams can put my contact details, Mercy's Door Health Ministry, and put my contact details there, then they can call me anytime from tomorrow, okay?
Between the hours of.
Between, at any case, but definitely my PA, between the hours of 10 and 3, because I've got clients that I'm working with. So if you can give me a call, if they give me a call, then I'll be able to take some of the calls then.
Okay, brilliant. So your number?
You guys should have my number.
Yeah,
07.
no. I'm saying you're happy for us to put your number in the chat.
That's fine.
Okay, but not on YouTube.
No, thank you.
Sorry, YouTubers.
Okay, now we're going to use.
So before you move on, Louise, I think someone had their hand up.
Okay, let's have that
Marilyn.
question. Hello?
I'm not sure if the person's still there or the question been answered.
Okay, well,
there is another question in the
if
chat.
Marilyn
I think
wants to
she's
come
gone.
back to me afterwards, that's absolutely fine. I'll take her question then. Is there another question in the chat?
Yes, thank you, Adenike. Can I wear the poultice all day if I'm at work, or is that too long a time to leave it on?
Okay, your poultices should be changed every 3 to 4 hours. And you need to have a breathing space in between, okay? So I always tell clients or house guests, have an hour or two breathing space in between the next one. You need to have air, that fresh air going in. So we want to do the healing on whatever area it is, but at the same time, we want that area to get air and breathed and it's open and exposed to the fresh air so that it can still do that healing as well. So you can't use it for like 10 hours. It's supposed to be 3 to 4 hours. But if you do a poultice overnight and you can sleep a bit on, then that's absolutely fine. The next morning you're taking it off. And of course, once again, you're letting it breathe for a while.
Thank you.
No worries.
Cabbage.
Okay, let's get to the cabbage. Okay, so with our first, I'm just telling my husband to roll up his trousers, okay? So with our first cabbage demonstration, okay, we're gonna cut out that big vein down the middle of that, because that's quite thick. We just want to get rid of that, okay? Okay, and then what we're going to do, you can see the cabbage. You're going to be using more than one leaf, of course, but just for demonstration purposes, okay? And what we're going to do is just, you see where the veins are on there? We're just going to mash the cabbage. Can you see the water coming through? Can you see the liquid? Yeah, and we're just doing this to help it release its enzymes, okay? The healing enzymes, the properties in the cabbage. So as you can see, I'm not breaking. As you can see, we're not breaking the leaf, okay? We've just bruised the leaf. We're bruising the leaf, but not breaking the leaf. And there's 2 ways we can do that. So we're gonna use Granddad, my husband. Sit down on the chair, please, husband. And of course, you'd have a wider, at least 2 to 3 leaves, and you can put that just directly on the knee, okay? Put your leg up, do your thing that you just do for exercise. And you can use the cling film. Put your leg up, the trouser leg up, babe. And so you're just wrapping that up. It doesn't have to be tight. Don't make it extra tight, but don't make it loose. And you can just put some of the microplane tape here, or the other thing you can do, keep the leg up, Granddad or husband. You can hold it in place by, put your leg up there for me. Just putting the bandage through. Remember that tubular bandage I showed you? You would cut the tubular bandage to size, of course, so it would be a bigger one, but I don't want to waste the bandage, so I'm using the same small one. Micaiah was much smaller. And this will hold it in place. You can go to work, you can go do your shopping, you can do all those things. Trousers down, who knows that he's got something on there, and that's good for bruises, inflammation, all those type of things, okay? So the other way we can do this, Granddad, get your leg up. So we're just going to unwrap the poultice because we don't want anything to waste. And we'll keep this tape here. Granddad, hold that. Thank you. I'll be back to you in a minute. Okay, can I have you? So we'll once again cut the middle out. I'm going to soften it off a bit.
Okay.
And we're going to do the same thing. Excuse the noise. And you can see all the water springing up from there, from the bruising. Remember, we're not breaking it in pieces. We're just bruising it along the veins, okay? So we want a bigger area this time. So we're just going to put this over here, this one over here. Okay. And one of the things that we're going to do here now, we're going to use some clay. Remember our green ventilated clay?
Somebody's asked, as the cabbage starts to warm up, will it start to actually smell like cabbage?
Yeah, it will. So I'll give you the story in a minute. I'm just going to use for demonstration purposes only. We've got a tablespoon in here and we're sealing that back. We've got our water going in, just add a little bit at a time. And we're going to do the same process like we did with the charcoal. I can see that we're needing a little bit more clay. Thank you, Adenike. And this is a joy to me to have the whole family as part of the team. So as you can see, that's got much thicker here. You're just adding a little water at a time, okay? And what I'm going to do here, and you can do this with the charcoal as well, and you can just put it in on this. This is much stronger when it's done like this. It's more effective. Now, my mum, as I was saying, suffers with arthritis in her legs, and you can just smooth that, put that all over your area here.
Someone got their hand up, Louise. Can we take this question?
As I'm working, we can take it. Let's move it over to Granddad's knee. Granddad, let's get your knee ready. And we're putting this directly on. Hold on. The affected area. No. Issue.
Oopsie daisy.
So you can put the tissue over it like this afterwards, of course, all the way, a bigger area, or you can put it in between, like I showed you the charcoal, you know, so that the cabbage is in between. But I like direct on there. And then, of course, we're going to use, hold that in for me as well, the cling film once again to wrap it up. It's going to cause a bit of heat, which is what we want. Thank you. Waste not, want not, as they say. And as you can see, I'm doing it tight, but not too tight, so it still breathes. As you can see, look, I can get my finger in here. And then if you've got an old leggings that you don't need or a sock, you can cut the end out. I'm using the same bandage, but of course you would cut it to size. And I'm just putting this over and I'm holding it in place like this, nice and tight and secure. Can we see that? Thank you, Grandad. Okay, so.
Okay, so there was Thomas Chandy, he had his hand up and then I've got a hand as well. So I think Thomas might have been before the cabbage.
Okay, go ahead.
Hi, madam, I'm from India.
Hi.
Nice to see you.
Madam,
my question is, I'm working right now with a patient who's having kidney problem, chronic kidney disease. So I'm been applying as of now. We have not started completely, but yes, we are using this charcoal poultice on the kidney. My question now is, as I'm working with the kidney, can I apply the same time on the liver? Can I use the same charcoal poultice or cabbage poultice simultaneously? And how long can I do it? That's my question.
So your poultices can stay on for about 3 to 4 hours at a time. Okay, your poultices can stay on for about 3 to 4 hours at a time. And one of the things that I like to use specifically with the liver, especially when I'm working with clients with liver disease, it could be psoriasis of the liver, fatty liver, all sorts of different things. There's different remedies for different things. I like to use the infrared lamp and castor oil. I love to use things because they act wonderfully together. If you do not have an infrared lamp, don't panic. Heat the castor oil a little bit if you want to, and put it on a nice thick pad and place it on the kidney area, which of course is just under the breast area here. You put it in and you put it down, and you can add the hot water bottle on there and keep it there for at least 20 minutes or so at a time. This is very, very good. And if you're using the castor oil on its own, you can also just put the castor oil pack on, make sure it's sealed in properly. And of course, what you also do is just put it in so that you can walk around and you can leave that on for a much, much longer period of time. And it helps to break down things like tumors and all those type of things. I leave it on cysts, all those type of things. If you've got what you call them ganglions on the hands there or on the back of the hands there, they're very effective for that as well.
Oh, thank you. But my question is, can I work simultaneously? I'm asking. Means I'm working on the kidney.
Yeah.
I'm putting charcoal poultice. And here I'm, as of now, still not started with cabbage poultice. Can I do that?
Yes, you can. The cabbage, you may want to just not keep it on for so long. Yeah. Depends on how strong the person is, the body is as well. But if the person's quite weak, you don't want to be using too much different treatments at the same time, because it could make that person even weaker. So maybe you might start alternatively using doing the kidneys first. When you change over, do the liver, and backwards and forwards like that.
Okay.
Louise, also, would you say hot and cold compress would be a good recommendation there?
Hot and cold compress is absolutely wonderful. We're going to be discussing that in our further programs along the line. So make sure you're always tuned in so that you don't miss out. And one of a great way for reviving the liver and the kidneys is to do the hot and cold compresses. But of course, if you need to talk about something like that, you'd have to call me directly, maybe have a consultation, and then we'll go forward from there.
Sure. Thank you.
Okay. Now, I think our last demonstration for...
Hang on a sec. Somebody has asked in the chat.
Is there another question in the chat?
There was another question in the chat, and then I was going to comment on something as well.
Go ahead.
Before you even mentioned the infrared lamp, you must have been reading my mind, because that's where I was going. I was, with the poultices, obviously you want it to be penetrate. And so I was going to ask, would you use the infrared lamp to help with penetration?
Yes.
And obviously, if somebody is using the infrared lamp, it has to be, they have to know what they're doing, not have it too close so it burned, not have it so far that it's ineffective and the wattage is so low that it's not of any use. But we could have a separate discussion on use on infrared lamps and how long you switch it on for as well. Perhaps maybe at the end of this session, if people are interested.
Well, I won't take that question at the end of the session. The question is, yes, it can be used. So to answer that question, yes, it can be used. We are actually going to be doing infrared demonstrations along later on through different programs, Sharon, with detail. And so we'll be demonstrating how to use the infrared lamp and for how long. And we don't want people to nilly-willy be using, as you said, an infrared lamp. People can get burnt because the wattage can be quite high on there. And we don't want anything like that to be happening. And so we want people to be properly organized, properly and able to use the different things that we're using, and also the instruments as well is very important, that people know how to use them properly. But that show will be at another time when we're using the infrared lamp, definitely.
Yeah, I thought it's probably going to be a bit too much information and you won't be able to finish your demo if we went into the infrared. There was a question by Cindy. She says, can the cabbage be used on the ankle and feet, or is it another one of the other poultices that should be used? And D, yes, the castor oil pack, she said, was good for, you said ganglions on the hands. Oh, ganglion is a type of cyst, isn't it?
Yes, yeah, that's right. So yes, it can be used for that. You can use the castor oil directly on, you can put it on one of those little pads that I was showing earlier on, put the castor oil in there directly on the cyst, put the pad over and cover it down, and then make sure it's wrapped properly so that everything is not going everywhere, it's not leaking out everywhere. So yes, you can do that.
And cabbage.
The ankle and the feet, we're talking about a cabbage to be used there.
Yeah, it can be used on your ankles, on your feet, wherever you feel that inflammation, that pain, put it on there as well. That can be used on there.
Thank you, thank you. And I will put the number in the chat if one of the other admins don't get around to it yet. Okay. There was one other hand, or maybe it's the same person that was unmuting. Marilyn's had her hand up before, came off, and then she's now come back on.
Okay, let's take Marilyn, because she's been waiting patiently.
Marilyn, you may now unmute and ask your question.
Hi. Or
is it okay to speak now?
Yes. Yeah.
Hi, thank you. Two quick questions. Sorry, I ran out of charge, so I've lost the last 15 minutes. But what I wanted to ask you is 2 questions, and I'll try to be quick because of the time. I've got a lot of back pain for many years, but it could be not so much back things over the years that have caused it, but it could be a bowel condition called ulcerative colitis. So I wanted to know what was the best mixture to put on a poultice. And the other one I'll say as well, but in case I don't get chance after you've maybe given me some information, is have we got any health clinics in this country? I've been to Hungary health clinic, but I want to know if you have one or you know of any.
Oh, okay, Marilyn, I didn't hear everything you said, but I'm going to try and recap on what I heard you say. You're asking about, sometimes you said you're saying that over the past few years, you've had quite severe back pain, yeah? And
but they're saying it might be ulcerative colitis in the back.
So you're saying, okay, we can do that. Bowel. Okay, so with that, you'd have to talk to me directly to that, because we're not dealing with that directly on this show. But my contact details are going online, so you can take my number and give me a call tomorrow anytime between 10 and 2, where 10 and 3, sorry, where we can take some calls, because I am working with clients on and off, and we're doing a detox program tomorrow. So get my number and give me a call in regards to that. And yes, I do have in-house clients here with me. I live in Wiltshire, and we do have in-house clients here quite frequently. So that hopefully that answers your question.
I didn't get your number. It went off before I could write it down. So do have, I can ring you tomorrow.
Yeah.
If the number can be put back up.
Sorry, what was that? I didn't hear what she said.
Do you know how to use the chat? Because it's there in the chat. If you're
Is it?
to,
okay.
Yes, it's in the chat. Janine got there before me as I was typing it, but we've both put it in there. So it's the same number twice.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
We're going to move on, but I'm aware that I think my number has gone into YouTube as well. So please, TTI team, make sure that doesn't happen, please. Remember, the things that we're talking about is for educational purposes. Only always see your healthcare provider, who will be able to discuss this further with you and in depth with you. For this purpose of using our last demonstration, we're going to use the cabbage leaf again. And we're going to, we don't actually need to take this bit out, but I always do. So for this demonstration and such, but so we're removing the big heavy stalk bit down the middle. And again, you don't have to bruise, but by bruising, excuse the noise, everybody.
No, you're safe. Your number's not on YouTube.
Okay, great. So what we're going to do with the cabbage leaf that's been pounded but not busted up, okay, we're using this method for mastitis. So does everybody know what that is? It's when the breast gets very enlarged, especially when you're breastfeeding, very inflamed. And one of the quickest ways, very simple method ways, is to use the cabbage leaf. You put it inside the bra. I won't lift my dress up and embarrass myself or anybody else. And you put it inside the bra, one here. And of course, you would put the other one here. So it looks like you've got cabbage boobs, okay? So it goes into the bra, you wear it as normal. You can put the cling film, you can put the cling film around it as well, but you can just put it directly into the bra with the cling film around it so the bra doesn't get as soaked as it can be. And the heat from the breast will do the work of heating for you. So it just goes into the bra and it stays there for at least 20 minutes, okay? And that helps a lot with that inflamed breast, when, especially if you're breastfeeding and everything is all sore. The other way to help with this problem is to use a warm, quite a very warm hot towel, and you would put the very warm towel, again, very hot water, you'd wring it out. So you'd wring it out. So we're going to pretend that this is very hot water, very warm water.
That's the bottle water.
And you would, of course, put that into your very warm water. You would wring the cloth out. And you don't need to be putting it inside the bra, but you would put it around the breast area and you would just hold it on there and just gently do the massaging on the breast and keeping this on there for as long as it gets cold. So when it gets warm, you can take it off and you can put one on the other one as well. You'll be doing the same on the other one until it gets cold. But if you gently massage the area, this will work really, really well. Now, I'm talking from experience, this method as well, because when I had my first daughter, I had this problem. And I remember my boobs were like watermelons. Like if you cut a massive watermelon in half, that is literally how my boobs were. And I was in so much pain. They feel really heavy. You don't want to breastfeed, but you have to. Breastfeeding is actually very good for that. And we had a health visitor come in to visit me. And I said to her, she was asking me how I was. And I said, oh, my boobs are really hurting me. And she started feeling my boobs. I got automatically worried, thinking, what is this woman up to? Okay. And she said, don't worry. She was German. She said, don't worry. I'm not doing anything funny to you. She said, we're going to use some warm, hot towels on the breast. And she did that. And I loved that woman. I really, really did love her. It was the best thing that she did for me. And I started doing it myself, and massaging the breast gently. And the boobs were back to normal within 2 days. Proper. But breastfeeding, some people think, oh, I'm not going to breastfeed while this is happening. You should still breastfeed. This is really, really important. So this is also a part of the healing process when you have that problem. So I think
we would call that hydrotherapy then, wouldn't we?
Yes, yeah. So a hydrotherapy with the hot water on there, or using the good old cabbage leaf helps with that problem as well. So Jonathan and Sharon, that's the end of my demonstrations. But one more thing. One of the books that I recommend, I'm not selling this book. I bought it, okay? And my grandson, who was meant to be demoing with me, has one of this, and he started reading this. And this book is called Natural Compresses and Poultices, okay? And the author is?
Christopher Vasey.
Christopher Vasey. I'm sure there's other books around, yeah? But this is a very nice book. It tells you about lots of different poultices you can make, why, what's the benefits, and it tells you how to do it as well, okay? And it's talking about compresses and poultices. So it's worth having this in your medical kit book, the natural remedies kit book box. So please, if you want to order one of those, I'm not going to order them for you. I don't have anything to do with this. It's just one of the book that I've picked up, and I find it very helpful. So Jonathan,
thank you very much, Louise.
One thing
we've got, before we come to that though, we have one person asking a question in the chat. I think it's Ronnie.
Okay.
Would you like to ask a question?
Just 1 minute. You see, this is my charcoal water that we mixed earlier on. It's still quite black and dark, but what happens is it's starting to separate itself. Can you see the line here? It's starting to separate. And what will happen eventually is that all the charcoal will filter to the very bottom. So within 2 hours, it will filter down to the bottom. I'll drink just the water bit at the top and leave the charcoal bit at the bottom.
You can go ahead, Ronnie.
Ronnie, let's have your question.
Thank you. Thank you. I have pain on my right last rib. I thought it could be gallbladder. Just
she's been on her right.
Right. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, on my right rib, just on my right last rib, and I was feeling severe pain, and I thought it could be my gallbladder just underneath it or near it. And I've never had any issues before with gallbladder. But then on Friday, I fasted the whole day, and that subsided a little bit, but I can still feel it a bit sore or numb. Is there any poultice that I can use, please?
I mean, we don't even know what we're using, what we're dealing with. The best thing to do is that if you are getting that pain, and you should go and see the GP in case you do have gallbladder problems. But one of the easiest ways to deal with gallbladder pain is to drink, when you feel that pain coming on, is to drink water.
Yes, I am drinking a lot of water.
So this helps to reduce the inflammation, and it helps as well with the gallbladder hair to cool the gallbladder down. Another thing that you can do is put some warm heat, a heated towel on that area as well. That helps a lot. And if you do know that it's gallbladder problems, then I suggest you either do two things. One, stop eating lots of if you are eating lots of fatty foods, don't do that. Although the gallbladder needs.
I was eating a lot of avocados and nuts, so that could be a problem.
That is very good for the gallbladder, but remember, even the good things we have to do in temperate
moderation. Yes,
everything in moderation. But those are excellent foods, good healthy fats for the body, and the gallbladder likes those type of things. And the other suggestion is join us on our gallbladder, liver, and colon detox, which will happen in August. So that will happen in August. So you can join us then. But in seriousness, I suggest you get it checked in case you do have gallbladders or gallstones. There's some very simple methods you can use for flushing gallstones, but get that checked first. You've got my details in the chat. And if it turns out that it is that problem, then I would give you maybe a method of how to get rid of that. Or you
okay, thank you. So this is the first time I've got that pain.
Yeah, so do the water, do the cold compresses as well. And as you said, that fasting is excellent for this as well, because we don't know exactly what we're dealing with. I'm being very general in what I'm saying to you, but those are the things that I would suggest.
Thank you. Thank you ever so much. God bless you.
Don't forget the heat there as well.
Please, can you repeat the book details?
Okay. The book is called Compresses and Poultices, Natural Compresses and Poultices. And the author is Christopher Vasey. Yeah.
I can just see that someone puts it in the chat. So if you check the chat, the details should be there as well.
Thank you very much. That's that book. It's worth having. Okay, Jonathan, I'm moving back to the big laptop now, just to take any last few questions because my daughter's arm is getting. So I'm going to move over. I'll do the transition.
Okay, thank you, Louise. In the meantime, we'd just like to say thank you, Louise. As for me, I thoroughly enjoyed the program. I love all the poultices.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. And we just want to say thank you. And does that mean we're going to have another part to this presentation, a part 2 and 3? Is there a fourth part 2?
Yeah. Whoa. Yes, definitely there will be part 2 and part 3. It's coming in different stages. Remember, we talked about using the infrared lamp. Yes. And remember, there's lots of so many different poultices. Remember, we talked about the onions and the garlics and stuff. There's potato poultices, all those type of things that are so useful. They're things that you have in the cupboards, in the veg basket, all those type of things. We need to get prepared in terms of for emergencies, even basic emergencies, when we cannot access the hospitals. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's always good to know how to do these basic things. And as you said, when we have the retreat in August, from the 28th of August, we will also have young people training young people to do mini medical missionary work. So please join us, bring your children and register them to be a part of the program there. They're going to learn loads and we're going to have lots of interesting topics that we will be dealing with there. I'm sure we'll be able to still call in to be a part of the team there with us. Yeah. He's really good at asking the questions and filling in. I remember he came to one of my classes and he was filling in some of the spaces there. I was so glad to get hold of it for him to join me. And so please join us. And as I said, if you have any other questions, now is the time before I jump off. And you've got my number in the link for maybe some products and stuff that you may want, or consultations or in-house programs. Jonathan, I'm handing over to you in case there's any last questions, and you, Sharon.
Yes, thank you again. I add to what Jonathan said. You excellent presentation. Love the practical aspect and the theory that goes along with it. The questions as well, brilliant. Everybody who's participated. There is a question on YouTube. Somebody's asking, must the cabbage be cold or room temperature when helping with mastitis? I know cold probably makes it, it feels good because it's feeling kind of hot anyway. But yeah, must it be cold or can it be room temperature when you're using it for mastitis?
I just always use it. Anything that I really use, unless I'm using very cold compresses like ice compresses, very cold hot water, I usually use things that are kind of room temperature. Because the thing is, it may feel good on there at the beginning because it's cooling down that very inflamed, sore kind of inflammation feelings. But once you get it into the bra, the body heat starts to heat up that cabbage leaf anyway. Do you understand what I'm saying? And that's what we want. We want that heating up process so that it helps with the inflammation in that area.
So are you saying sorry, I missed the first bit because I was looking at YouTube. Did you say it's better to start off with it cold?
I just use it. No, I'm saying I've never just taken it out of the fridge and used it. I've always used it just as I've just broken up a few branches, and usually I leave it in the room for a little while just to cool down. But I was saying, I understood the fact that people might think if I take it straight out of the fridge, it's going to be nice and cool on that area. I'm sure it would be if you do the breaking down of it just give it a good pounding without breaking it into pieces. So when you put it on at first, of course, it's going to feel really cool. But I was saying in the long run, the body is going to use the heat from the body is going to warm up that area anyway. So whether you use it cold or whether you use it just at room temperature, I'm not quite sure if it will make a difference. But bear in mind that it's going to be heated up anyway by the body's natural temperature.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So yes, and there's another comment on YouTube from Colette saying, praise the Lord for God's method of healing. So thank you for those who have been interacting on YouTube and those who have been interacting on Zoom. And those of you who will be watching this later, don't forget we do have our, if someone can put that on, in fact, I should have put it on in the PowerPoint, but we do have our Telegram groups as well, where you can interact with us in the week off air, and we can encourage each other and share some information, as well as we have our spiritual health group where we put in devotionals on, words of encouragement, any particular prayer request that goes on the spiritual health group, so we don't get lost with all the, you know, if somebody puts, can you pray for me on a particular issue, and then we're trying to look for health issues, we kind of get lost when the two are kind of mixed up. We know prayer and health goes hand in hand, and that's why we offer both platforms. But some people struggle to find the answers to their health questions if we've got lots of amens in response to the devotionals, etc. So yes, thank you so much. And thank you also for reminding people about the Kefin Lee Health Retreat, which we are so looking forward to. We will put the flyer up again and the video. For those of you who missed it at the beginning, you'll be able to see that again. I'm not sure if there's any more questions though. And thank you also for your team. Your team have been brilliant, Louise.
Oh, there are, I'm telling you, they've been lifesavers. We've got the whole family in. My aim, by the grace of God, is to train my grandchildren, all my grandchildren, for the medical missionary work. You know, when I've got them, I'm going to make sure that I do my bit with them, because I feel like, you know, they're going to be, you know, they're our next generation, and they are here today now. So we need to do that work with them now. We need to get them interested, involved with this work, so that they can be in the field somewhere at their very young ages, doing basic, simple little things. My grandson at home, if anything goes wrong and people start having diarrhea or get ill or vomiting, my grandson is like, Mum, get that charcoal out. Do you understand? He's only 11, but he's on the ball already. And sometimes his mum is a bit exhausted. She's like, oh, da 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 da, and he's on her case, you know. And those little things, you should never have a house without cayenne pepper, charcoal, clay. Certain things should never not be in your natural remedies cupboard. You know, it should not, there's no reason for it not to be there. You may not need to use it right now, but it may come a time when you will need to use it. And as you can see by the simple demonstrations we've done here, it doesn't take long, yeah? And once you've done it a few times, you master it, you move on to the next one. And it's just about being informed. Don't wait for the TTI team to be the only ones that are doing something like this. You come on here, you see the information, go online, research, get proper information, and just pray and ask God to help you to be the worker that you want him to be. But yes, Sharon, my whole team here, I've got my husband, my daughter, her husband was in the background doing some of the babysitting and helping. And my granddaughter was here. And I intend to continue to just get the whole family involved for the mission work. Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you.
So I'd just like to say, Louise, thanks again, and like to say thanks to everyone for all the encouragement in the chat. And at this stage, we want to say we come to the end of the show. I know Sharon wants to show the video again and and do the promo, but because some people may have seen it, we don't want to hold you if you need to go. But for those who haven't seen it and you want to see the promotion for this year conference, you are more than, you know, welcome to stay on and to see the promotional video. And it's over to you, Sharon, to do that now.
Okay, and can I encourage you, if you do want to book to come to the health conference, which probably most of you would like to, if you get your bookings in soon, rather than leaving it to the last and then finding out that the spaces have run out, you don't really want to be in that situation. You know, a lot of times we procrastinate and, you know, I'll do it later. And then later, you know, situation might change. You know, there may not even be any spaces. And if you contact us, we'll give you more information about the accommodation, etc. Because sometimes people might not be sure what the situation is. So contact us, any one of the team, and we'll be happy to fill you in. There is a question though on the chat. Where did you buy the clay? I know Louise provides it. So would you like to say something about that? And we will share Louise's contact information again in the chat.
If you put, I've seen some information. Just say that I saw a question earlier on. I can't remember who it was, but she was asking, is there someone in England who does this type of work, in-house work? We do it. Manor House does do it, but Manor House is not operating at the present moment. I'm Mercy's Door Health Ministry. You can phone me with the same contact details that Sharon or the TTI team will put in the chat. So please put that information in the chat again for us, Sharon. The clay I purchased from France, from the French mines. We got the clay from the French mines, and we got it in very large bulks. And so, yeah, they can be acquired from myself. My contact details is in the chat, of course. And I saw another question saying, is it bentonite clay? No, it is not bentonite clay. It works very similar to bentonite clay, but with greater properties. It's much greater properties.
Okay, excellent. Right, so I will go. Thank you so much again, everybody. This has been a lovely show. It has been. God's name is praised, because he's put the properties there in nature for us to use. So we can only give him all the glory and all the praise. So
and it's been a good show, Sharon, because we've had lots. This is what I love, as I was saying to you earlier on. I love the interaction between the presenter, the host, the audience. This is what I really like. I hope everybody has had a chance to have their questions answered. But I'm sure if you haven't and you speak to one of the TTI teams, we can hopefully get the answers and the questions answered for you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for the encouragement as well, Louise. We heard you. So this is the poster for our Come Apart and Rest a While 2023. Revive, rejuvenate and reform. You will not be disappointed when you come along. We will hear presentations from our ministerial team. We have Dr. Melbourne Lang, Pastor Sam Davis, Andre Crawford, and he calls himself the preacher and the doctor, Mayman Wilson. We will have workshops covering Christian financial management, men's health, the deadly trio, obesity, diabetes, hypertension, practical home remedies, physio health, essential oils, practical plant-based cooking, cancer does not mean the end, different ways to preserve food and drink, and our new children's workshops, mini missionaries. And wow, that's a lot. That's a lot. You might not be able to attend every single one of those workshops, but if you're coming with family, maybe you can kind of divide it up, and so you get to see most of them. We also will have treatment rooms. These were very popular last year. You know, we were doing, some people had the poultices applied, they had the massages, they had the infrared lamps, we had the sauna, the steam chamber, we had the physiotherapist who was also providing treatment. And yeah, we definitely had the masseurs with the massage beds. And we also had practical cooking demonstrations, and I'm sure that will still happen again. Sunset has now gone, so we have the price there. It's from £175 per adult, slightly lower prices for children under 12. And we are now taking bookings. So please have a look at or contact us and go on and get the application through, and you can reserve your space with a £50 non-refundable deposit. That's per person. I will go from there. That was some of us last year. I will stop the share and go into the video. And hopefully you've been able to get the contact details there as well for Sister Louise. Share sound, that's fine. Okay, so stay tuned. Play.
Come apart and rest a while. Full of preaching, teaching, healing, and lots more. It's a 7-day health conference in the UK. Welcome to Caffeine Lee 2022. So you might be wondering when the next one is. Well, it's the 28th of August to the 3rd of September in 2023, and it's taking place in the beautiful countryside, Cabbage, Wales. If interested, please email ahreformers@gmail.com or go to ttinternational.org for more information. We can't wait to see you there.
Unmute. Okay, so hopefully that's answered some of your questions. If you were wondering what is this Cabbage that we keep talking about, there you go. So it's another health retreat coming up later on in the year, and we will hopefully we'll be able to meet you all face to face, and there will be purchases of some of these things. So you would have heard us speak about many different things. That we will have a health a mini shop that you could see in the video. So we'll be providing lots of things that you could take with you. So don't forget, as well as coming there, you may want to bring some extra funds so that you have access to these things. And obviously you wouldn't have to pay postage, so you get them direct there. So that's the advantage. So looking forward to seeing you all there. Those of you who can make it. Obviously it's in the UK. So for some of you, you may have to fly over. That's fine. That's fine. We take dollars, we take rupees, we take anything. We're happy to have you with us, and more than anything, we just love the fellowship. We really want to fellowship with you. You may have seen we had a surprise guest with us last year. We had Barbara Neal with us as well. She joined in with the exercises and had her own workshop as well, and it was wonderful. It was what everybody that came. We were just blessed to have you with us, whether you're well known or not known, we are all God's children. So really looking forward to that.
So someone is asking Sharon if the 175 include the workshops, and it is.
Yes, it's all in.
Yeah, but there are different accommodations. So different accommodation is different price, right?
Yes, and then yes.
That's the reason why you need to get the booking form.
And also there will be an extra cost because all the rooms are all the accommodation is self-catering. However, if you want to have a rest from the cooking as well, we will have caterers available. So that will be an extra cost. That will be 2 meals a day, your good healthy breakfast and a good healthy lunch. That's what we're providing. If you need a third meal, well, you do have the facilities in your accommodation. But I'm not sure, we may be putting on a light evening meal for those who cannot handle or not ready yet for the 2 meal plan. But
what I would say, Sharon,
we have accommodation.
Last year we were thinking the same thing, and a lot of people said they didn't need a third meal. So
no. To be honest, actually, no, I don't think we are putting on a third meal. Louise, I can see your finger, your index finger.
Yeah, I was just going to say what Jonathan said about the third meal. We didn't do one last year, and a lot of people said they didn't need one. And if people do need one, it's good to, maybe just sort that out yourselves, maybe like a salad or whatever it is. But I wanted to just get to a point someone has asked in the group. Is the accommodation, the treatments, the workshops from 175? So the workshops and the accommodation, depending on what accommodation you have, is from adult 175. But in terms of treatments,
oh yes, I missed that one.
In terms of massages, therapies, all those type of things, those are additional costs, lower than you would normally get them other places, but those are additional costs. So accommodation and workshops are in the same bracket as in terms of starting from 175, but treatments and products and stuff are for additional costs.
Thank you for that clarity, Louise. Thank you very much.
At this point, we can say goodbye to those on YouTube.
Yeah, sorry we've kept you a bit longer today, but I'm sure and I hope that you will think it was worthwhile, because this is invaluable. The information is free. It's free. Praise the Lord. We have freely received and we are freely given. And God has blessed us with the properties in the cabbage. Cabbage can do so much. Amen. Okay, so thank you for those of you who've joined us on YouTube, and those of you who are on Zoom. we will stay on here for a little bit longer. So goodbye, those of you on YouTube.
Goodbye, YouTube viewers.
That's a goodbye from Louise. You might want to unmute if you've got a final word you want to say just before we shut that off, or a challenge. A quick one.
Yes, a challenge. Thank you, Sharon. I would like to take up that challenge for all of us today. I would like for all of us to try and do at least one day or even half a day of fasting, okay? Because this is so good if you have problems with the system. Like, it could be inflammation, it could be diabetes, it could be high blood pressure, it could be all sorts of things. Let's challenge ourselves to have at least one day of fasting, or half a day of fasting. You don't take out your water, keep your water in, of course, but in terms of eating, if you feel like you can do that challenge, then let's do that challenge. Like tomorrow, we're starting our detox program, a 10-day detox program for the hormone balancing and all that type of stuff. And we're going to be just doing juicing for 2 whole days. Yeah, juices are going to be your food. So if you want to do a day of juicing, that's absolutely fine. If you want to do a whole day of fasting, but keeping your water content in there, that's absolutely fine as well. But that's the challenge, that we do that as much as possible, many of us who can do that, and see what happens next week, how that person felt.
Okay, thank you. And oh, I was going to say something else. Before we go off air, what was it, Jonathan? Help me.
Unfortunately, Sharon, I can't read your mind. Don't have such gift.
It was something to do with, something beginning with, help me. Okay, I can't remember, but anyway, you know what, maybe I wasn't supposed to say it, but I really wanted to say it. Never mind. So it's come back to me. See you again on here on the 11th of March. So we don't have a show for the rest of February. The next one will be on the 11th of March, where we'll have part 2 of Marcia Mendoza's presentation, which was on herbs of the Bible. And then in fact, I should have just showed the video, the PowerPoint slide. And on the 18th of March, we will have Sonia Barnes presenting on another topic to do with remedies from heaven. Okay.
On the 18th, I thought you was on every 2 weeks.
We've got something else scheduled for the week after. We're doing something in the community, in the local community, in our local church. So so just stay tuned. We did think it was going to be, systemic, sort of like methodically every other week, but due to other things that we're involved in our local churches, or other churches that may ask us to put on programs, we can't stick rigorously to that. But the aim is to have 2 shows in a month. Okay. So they may be back to back like these last 2, and then the month of March it will also be back to back. Sorry, where should I be going? No. I can't remember where I'm supposed to be going with this. Oh, there we go. That's the one coming soon, the 11th of March and the 18th of March. So there you go. And Louise will be doing a part 2 or 3. I'm not sure how many parts, but we'll arrange a date for you. And there will be lots more. In fact, we've got many more topics as well to come with the remedies from heaven. We've done the poultices, we've spoke about figs, we're going to have essential oils, we're going to be talking about other things that, miracles that we've seen in the Bible that have been, that are worth looking into a bit more, so we can learn from them, not just have them as stories, but learn from them. Even the presence of touch, the physical touch, Jesus touched individuals, and there's the spoken word as well, that even singing is remedies. Singing can be healing if it's done in the right way. So I will stop the share there, and